5, burnout was defined by 3 components. 1. Emotional exhaustion, the fatigue that comes from caring too much for too long. 2. Depersonalization, the depletion of empathy, caring, and compassion. And 3. Decreased sense of accomplishment, an unconquerable sense of futility, feeling that nothing you do makes any difference. And here's an understatement. Burnout is highly prevalent. 20 to 30% of teachers in America have moderately high to high levels of burnout. Similar rates are found among university professors and international humanitarian aid workers. Among medical professionals, burnout can be as high as 52%. Nearly all the research on burnout is on professional burnout, specifically people who help people, like teachers and nurses. But a growing area of research is parental burnout. In the 40 years since the original formulation, research has found it's the first element in burnout, emotional exhaustion, that's the most strongly linked to negative impacts on our health, relationships, and work, especially for women. So what exactly is an emotion and how do you exhaust it? Emotions, at their most basic level, involve the release of neurochemicals in the brain in response to some stimulus. You see the person you have a crush on across the room, and your brain releases a bunch of chemicals, and that triggers a cascade of physiological changes. Your heart beats faster, your hormones shift, and your stomach flutters. You take a deep breath and sigh, your facial expression changes, maybe you blush, even the timbre of your voice becomes warmer. Your thoughts shift to memories of the crush and fantasies about the future, and you suddenly feel an urge to cross the room and say hi. Just about every system in your body responds to the chemical and electrical cascade activated by the sight of the person. That's emotion. It's automatic and instantaneous. It happens everywhere and affects everything, and it's happening all the time. We feel many different emotions simultaneously, even in response to one stimulus. You may feel an urge to approach your crush, but also simultaneously feel an urge to turn away and pretend you didn't notice them. Left to their own devices, emotions, these instantaneous whole-body reactions to some stimulus, will end on their own. Your attention shifts from your crush to some other topic. The flush of infatuation ceases until that certain special someone crosses your mind or your path once more. The same goes for that jolt of pain you feel when someone is cruel to you, or the flash of disgust when you smell something unpleasant. They just end. In short, emotions are tunnels. If you go all the way through them, you get to the light at the end. Exhaustion happens when we get stuck in an emotion. We may get stuck simply because we're constantly being exposed to situations that activate emotion. Our crush is still there all day, every day, even if only in our thoughts, and so we're trapped in our own longing. Or we return to our stressful job every single day. No wonder helping professions are so exhausting. You're confronted with people in need all day, day after day. No wonder parenting is so exhausting. Once you're a parent, you're never not a parent. You're always going through the tunnel. Sometimes we get stuck because we can't find our way through the most difficult feelings: rage, grief, despair, helplessness. Maybe too treacherous to move through alone. We get lost and need someone else, a loving presence, to help us find our way. And sometimes we get stuck because we're trapped in a place where we are not free to move through the tunnel. Many of us are trapped in just this way because of a problem we call human giver syndrome. Human giver syndrome. In Down Girl, The Logic of Misogyny, philosopher Kate Manne describes a system in which one class of people, the human givers, are expected to offer their time, attention, affection, and bodies willingly, placidly, to the other class of people, the human beings. The implication in these terms is that human beings have a moral obligation to be or express their humanity, while human givers have a moral obligation to give their humanity to the human beings. Guess which one women are? In day-to-day life, the dynamic is more complicated and subtle, but let's imagine the cartoon version. The human givers are the attentive, loving subordinates to the human beings. The giver's role is to give their whole humanity to the beings so that the beings can be their full humanity. Givers are expected to abdicate any resource or power they may happen to acquire, their jobs, their love, their bodies. Those belong to the beings. Human givers must at all times be